Welcome to a joyous edition of the Real Chili Podcast. Crack whatever you're drinking. It's 10 o'clock on a Monday night. Life is beautiful. Peter Mohan, Eric Pond. This is the Real Chili Podcast. Why is Steve Wojciechowski still? Oh, it says bye. Pete Mohan on the interface doing a hell of a job. What an exciting day. Shock the world, shock the program, shock our hearts and minds. Shaka Smart is the head coach of Marquette men's basketball. Eric Pond, your immediate reaction.
I have one question for you, Brian Bubbles Henry. Are we significantly closer to DePaul than we are to Villanova?
That is that's a fair way to start. As of today, Eric, we're closer to Villanova. We're closer to Villanova today.
Yes!
Back. We're back. Wow. Brian's got his positive pants on today. Feeling great about it. Realistic question. Way to come and throw heat right out of the gate.
You heard it here first. Shaka Smart is the Jay Wright of Dave Lathouse.
Pete Mohan, that's your voice for those of us just consuming on podcast form. Peter, you're excited. Or are you?
I'm excited. Of course I'm excited. I love change. I love upheaval. I love the new era. Although the press conference was a little boring, if you ask me, but that's a good thing. I don't know. I don't like fake hype. I wasn't all about the Crean era, four-wheelers and like pulling up in Escalades. I like just a boring ass coach.
I think they were Hummer H3s, but fair, yeah. Or did he?
I was happy to see that he's not like a fake hype guy because I really didn't know that about him. I thought the Havoc thing was like energy facade, but it's not. It's just like a mentality thing, which I appreciate.
For those that have been living under a rock, let's reset it. In the last week, 8 days, Marquette, to all of our shocking surprise, let go of its 7-year tenured men's basketball coach and Steve Wojciechowski, and stunningly was able to replace him with Shaka Smart coming from the University of Texas. Now, we'll get into Shaka's situation because there's a lot of uniqueness to it as to why you're coming from a school like Texas over to Marquette. But I don't think there's any other way to look at this other than is it a home run? Can we all say home run? Are we all in agreement that this is a home run?
I think this is a basketball hire. But yeah. No, I think that was like
triple off the wall.
Triple off the wall at the least. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go to replay on whether he's safe at home quite yet. But I don't know. I think like what more can you ask for really in checking the boxes? He's a guy with a national profile. He's 43 years old, young, but yet has 10 years of head coaching experience. I think he said he had 22 years of coaching experience total, which, I mean, the 10 years is 10 years that he had on Wojo when he started, and I think we saw how that turned out. So I think that was a natural reaction by the athletic department to maybe go in the direction of someone that had extensive head coaching experience versus like a Dennis Gates type who just had his 2 years at Cleveland State. So I think that was evident. But also Shaka's, he's got a cool profile about him. We snatched him from a university who is so independent and important that they have their own TV network. Yet we snatched him into our arms. Not that he was long for Austin per se.
I don't know if we snatched. I don't know if snatched him the right word.
Well, do you really how can you view it in two senses that like he has an upward trajectory of success with Marquette, but like he was going to shrivel on the vine at Texas? Like I don't think both realities are equal.
It's not shrivel on the vine.
He was going to be successful at one or successful in the other to some extent, but he wasn't going to be a failure at one and like successful at the other.
No, I'm just saying. Just let's make clear: Texas was not bothered by him leaving. And that's just part of the story. They made zero effort to retain him as their coach. They were
this whole decade
very much okay with him leaving.
This whole decade has been trash for them for the most part in sports. I mean, but
we're not talking about their athletic department. We're talking about their basketball program. They were okay with Shaka Smart leaving. Just like if Steve Wojciechowski announced he was going to take over the head coaching job at Ole Miss, we would have all been like, cool, see ya. This is kind of like that.
I don't think it's that. I don't think that they were that sour on him in Texas.
Yeah, let's take it a step back. I'm not sure they were either. I mean, again, as he mentioned in his intro presser, and we know, he won their first Big 12 championship in school history. Like, luck or whatever, poor performance, he still did. He recruited incredibly well at Texas. We know that. He made it to the tournament, 3 or 4 times. He was bounced from the tournament on incredibly unlucky situations. I think we can say that objectively. This is not a drinking the Kool-Aid
and coming
situation.
off a Big 12 tournament championship as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Again, where he unfortunately lost to Abilene Christian in the first round. I think this is.
No, skip over that part. Don't remind anybody.
He tanked for the Marquette job. That's obvious.
This is objectively a home run for the program, for Marquette. The university today, this was about a victory lap. This was about taking a victory lap. It was a celebration for the university, what we are, what we can coalesce around. There are now billboards off of highways around Milwaukee that are welcoming Shaka Smart home. This is something where we did not get cute. We did not overthink it. We did not get an up-and-coming assistant somewhere. We got an absolutely undervalued top-tier coach who is in the prime of his coaching career, if not just entering it, which is likely where he is.
That's a great point.
It's a huge day for Marquette University. And I love having a coach who is leaving a huge school to come to a smaller basketball-first university, which is very much what you heard in Shaka's reasoning that he gave during the intro presser today for why he chose Marquette. And historically, Texas is the kind of successful program that a winning Marquette coach would flee for after a few years of success. So give me a guy like Shaka who's tasted that and then chooses Marquette and to come home where his home base is less than 100 miles from where his mother is. That's a significant reversal and a step forward for this program. And he's also doing it, again, after an entire career living at that largest stage. He's not the Crean. He's not Buzz. He's not the guy looking for that stepping stone opportunity. And this, again, is him entering the prime of his career, coming home to take this program. And I have so many more thoughts on this. But I am excited. For me, this is a home run.
I agree with your career arc narrative. And I will say, though, that we as a fan base are better than having to project that scorned lover syndrome. Let's get that out of our head now. Let's have a guy that, starting now, this is a program that isn't a stepping stone, and that we shouldn't have to guard ourselves with hires that way. I think that hopefully our athletic department views the program in that manner and is going to hire people that they think aren't on that arc, and that this is their, I legitimately think that they believe that about Wojo, and that was the intent. They gave him a long leash because they're looking for a really long-term fit. And anyways, I'm not totally disagreeing with you or anything, Eric. I'm just saying I wish we would, if people really want to talk about elevating the program and we should be in this conversation, then if your mentality is to be better hire the right guy or else we're a stepping stone, then you're not in that conversation.
Well, can I reverse that back on you? Isn't that a perfect fit then? It's one scorned lover meeting another scorned lover. That's what we just brought in. I mean, we always have been, and this is where we find our success in, to me, what I know Marquette to be. It's where, it's a profile of the student and the person they bring in. Again, I could dive deeply into this.
I think the more exciting thing about his career arc is, well, I totally agree though, like that circumstance will like permit him to stay for a while and cultivate, his time here. But I think more valuable is the the combination of the lens of VCU and Texas, because he saw how to do it frugally, with the resources at VCU. It's not some recruiting monster, at VCU. Like, he was able to accomplish that with, 3-4 star guys maybe. And then in Texas, obviously a totally different scenario, like how you build a program at the world, one of the world's largest universities and like one of the most prestigious athletic departments on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's seen how it's done and his connections with USA Sports as well. Like, he's seen it done at the grandest scale as well. And so once you have both of those ends of perspective, now, like, okay, you come home and you find your place that, hey, okay, this, I feel safe and I'm gonna build what I want. It's so much more helpful to have that bookend perspective on program type in order for him to have so many lessons learned from the various situations that are presented to him from those two schools. And that's, I think, the most exciting thing to me is the broad spectrum of lessons learned and the styles of play and everything else that he's experienced that in combination puts him in a position to design the best program at Marquette from the ground up.
Isn't this like a Goldilocks Bears situation? To
some
degree,
just right.
There's too small, there's too big, and then there's just right, and this is home for me. To me, Shaka he's at the Goldilocks stage, and that's what he's found in us. And again, I'm just so thrilled we did not overthink it and said, "Well, welcome. Yes, we are Goldilocks."
Well, let me ask the question then and get it to what I think is ultimately we're not there yet because of the victory lap side, what's going on right now, Eric. But what is the expectation with the two of you? What is the expectation, and how fast are you expecting that expectation to ferment, whatever analogy you want to go with, as under Shaka Smart as Marquette's head basketball?
Here's a good objective one for you guys. So I think the stat was thrown around that in his however many years of coaching, he never had a team with a worse defense than 40th on Ken Pom, right? So can he do that here? That would be a nice objective thing. Is the defense in such shambles with the personnel that's been cultivated by Wojo that Shaka's career streak of a 40th or better defense is feasible or not? I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to follow along with what Shaka said today, which and we can get into takes on the intro presser and whatever at some point. But I thought he was incredibly genuine, and I thought what he said about just getting 1% better every day and having a short-term goal and having long-term goals, that long-term goal being hanging banners. I think that is incredibly important, but then how do you get there every single day? And again, this is a lot of coach speak. Some of this is BS, but I truly believe it with Shaka. I think getting incrementally better every day is extremely important. I think mending the holes and filling these gaps on defense, however that's happening, is important. I think it's so hard to say what's going on in the short term because, as we've seen today, I do decommits tonight as of about an hour ago. Cam is still coming in, Cam Jones. We're seeing a lot of moving pieces. This is extremely hard to project out in any sort of short-term way, although it does appear that DJ Carton looks excited. We're hoping Justin Lewis and Dawson Garcia are coming back. If that's the case, we're just seeing a much more competitive brand of basketball. We're not seeing baseline, the ceiling with a coach, a floor with a coach like Shaka really does seem to be the highest of any available coach on the market. Potentially one of the highest of any coaches in the Big East. And the ceiling seems to be the highest of any available coach at this point. I'm just looking for no losses to DePaul. I'm looking for no losses
no losses to DePaul needs to be number one on the.
Oh my God!
For hiring you can't lose to DePaul.
Like, let's just go baseline with the amount of talent we should be able to even get off the transfer market, assuming everyone leaves. You're still beating DePaul.
All right, let me ask you guys this before you even get to that. He needs to put together a staff. Brian, there has been some talk about like Wojo was not willing to reform his staff to complement what he had sitting there. So like, who do you hope that the type of guys that he has alongside him on that sideline?
I mean, the fact that he's been a head coach. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea who, but I mean the fact that he's been a coach for a long time. He's a well-connected individual. He's not going to have trouble putting a staff together. Marquette pays, obviously due to the money. You're going to be able to financially compete with whoever you want and get whatever coaches he wants to bring in. It's really what you go after recruiting-wise. It's a new area of the country. He's now recruited in Virginia, obviously the state of Texas, and now you're coming up to Wisconsin. 3 very different areas demographically, 3 very different areas from a local side of athlete, and then who can you actually go after? Look, as the program he's taking over now, we can all have our impressions of it, but to 18-year-old kids, we don't exist right now. I mean, and that's something he's going to have to really go out and aggressively sell to get people to buy in. His name recognition, while it's out there, I think for the college basketball intents. Look, reality is reality, and I don't mean to throw cold water on everybody's front. The man had a losing record in conference at Texas. That I don't love.
Something we're comfortable with.
Well, you're right. It's something we're very used to. But that's obviously not something, that's something he has to improve on. Do I think it's he couldn't coach in the Big 12 and handle that? He had 4-14 season, which obviously dragged down his record significantly. But he went 8-11 a couple times as well. We don't want to go 8-11 in our league. That right now, and look, if you're watching this NCAA tournament, both teams shorthanded. We watched Villanova and Creighton demonstrate they're right now head and shoulders above where we are as of pre this hiring. I think we have an opportunity to start to swim back in those waters again. But right now, infrastructure-wise, you're playing for third place in this conference, and it's going to be. And I think UConn's going to be coming on incredibly strong in the next 2 years, based on their recruiting and what we saw from them this year. This is going to be a very tough league to get to the top of.
I think with the changing rules and everything around transfers, though, it's never taken less time to reload a roster. And if anyone is in position to do that, it's like, a savvy hire like Shaka Smart. And this is another thing too, I think maybe a trend to watch just throughout basketball and see, as they assemble the staff, see if they say anything about this, is that with this, trend of more transfers and everything that's going on, in addition to scouting high school guys, you're going to have to develop a scouting department that's focused on looking at the entire NCAA, like targeting guys and being able to quickly assess who they are as a player and what they can contribute so you can make moves on them in the transfer portal and things like that. And I think that's going to be a really interesting trend in analytics and program building, is how do they identify the right guys like through all of the recruiting channels. And something else that we said maybe we wanted is for Marquette to start dipping back into the JUCO ranks because of the success that they've had in the past. So like, why not open all channels?
That's a one coach that had success doing that. Let's be fair.
But that's not to say that like legitimate talent can't come through that avenue if it's the
100% it can, but you got to have the right connects to get it.
I'm just saying I want a guy who's ready to capitalize on all channels. And like the consistency thing I want to bring here with the message is that, really that's what I appreciated about Wojo, and that's what kept him around, is his ability to recruit. And I don't see any gap in like missing a step for this program, because Shaka is an experienced recruiter and can get it done at the highest level. So I'm not worried about that at all. And I think that he gets close to his competitive level with this team fairly quickly, or at least up to what his close to potential is, a lot more than we expected Wojo to, and gave him that leash. I don't think we're going to have to with Shaka. It's probably going to happen in a couple of years.
Eric, you're chomping at the bit.
Yeah, so I think we need to take a really wide view at why Wojo was potentially successful at bringing in the talent he was the last couple of years of his tenure, and so many of these things still exist. They are still a part of what Shaka is going to sell, and on top of that, you bring in Shaka Smart, and I disagree. I think Shaka Smart is still an absolute name brand in basketball. I do believe that young recruits coming up and transfers absolutely know who the head coach of Texas basketball was, who developed and turned out Jackson Hayes and Jared Allen and Mo Bamba. And then again, looking back at the VCU days, that may be more of our,
No, sort of. Think about when you guys were kids, when you were like 7 to 12 years old. Those were the VCU teams. Those are the tournaments that you remember.
Fair enough. So
those are these guys. So even more to your
time out. So think of if you were 12 years old and they were just building the most world-class basketball arena in downtown Milwaukee, and that's what you were reading about as a basketball fan. And then you turn 18 and that basketball arena is done. Wojo had so much else to build on and so much to bring these prospects in for. Like, Wojo was selling the Fiserv Forum, he was selling Marquette's vision, he was selling an entire city lined up with Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Fiserv Forum, President Level's vision for the university, and then this basketball program that sits as this gemstone in the middle of it. Like, what I'm trying to say is, a lot of things that Wojo was selling weren't Wojo. They were Milwaukee. They were the Fiserv Forum. They were the future of the university. And that is still there. And Shaka can take that and blow that up. And I'm not talking about blow it up. I'm talking about expand it. And what made us attractive is not necessarily gone with some salesman that goes out the door.
That's fair.
But if I want a BMW X7, I love where this is going. I don't give a shit about the guy who's trying to sell me that X7.
Oh, yes, you X7. Do. That's bullshit. Oh, come on.
I don't give a shit about that guy. I want the vehicle. These kids, people do their research. People understand what they're getting into. If you want to come in and play in that locker room at Fiserv, you want to come into this program.
You've got a real hard on for the Fiserv Forum. Jesus, get a goddamn room.
Have you been there? Shit. Have you ever been there?
Yes, I've been there. It's a basketball arena. Great. You make it sound like it's fucking 1968 Madison Square Garden. Holy shit.
Hey, the Mecca. Hey, what? I mean, this is how Marquette goes.
I'm just saying. I wasn't going to say anything, but you are acting like the Fiserv Forum is the goddamn Roman Coliseum. Let's bring it down just a step.
What I'm saying is the basketball program invests a fuck ton of money, and we also have this most expensive arena outside whatever they just built in San Francisco. You have all of this money coming into the program. You have Eric. It's not like you're going to play in. Okay, whatever. Go ahead.
No, you're totally right. I think one way to picture it is for baseball, you have your WAR, right? Wins above replacement. Wojo, we're going to be blessed our whole lives with this, because Wojo is the replacement level coach. He is the most average benchmark that we will ever have in our lifetime of any coach. There's so many worse coaches and so many better coaches. And if anyone was a bona fide 5, it was Wojo. And so any progress by any coach in Marquette's history should simply be compared versus Wojo's to just help you understand how impactful that coach is. Because he is potentially made by Boston Dynamics. I'm not sure.
Wow. May I?
Go ahead.
Off of this conversation, there is a segment of this fan base I would like to speak for. And I'm unique in this because there are people that obviously follow it closely. We like to proclaim here we're not a recruiting podcast. I don't give for those with kids in the car, earmuffs, or turn the volume down. I don't give a flying fuck about the number of stars in front of a single kid's name going forward. We didn't develop any of that shit.
True.
The last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me about how good of a recruiter Wojciechowski was because it didn't fucking come together into any meaningful competitive group. We made a handful of tournaments under him. Yes, he recruited the leading scorer in team history. We were brutal to watch from a team basketball standpoint. I don't care if Shaka is pulling kids out of pickup ball at Riverside High School. If they can fucking play and win games, sweet. Don't care.
Jimmy Butler, a 0-star.
Right. I'm just saying, I'm going back, and that's not just your junior college thing, Pete. Get kids that can get in here, play to whatever your system is, and win. That is the criteria. I don't need to be excited about, we're high on Henry Ellenson's list. Fuck off with that. We're not Kentucky. We're not going to run that game with everybody. Getting one of those guys doesn't change our world. It's nice, but it doesn't change everything. Like you said, that Adu kid bailed today. So what? He wasn't going to turn us in. We weren't going to be a national power with him showing up, even if he stayed next year. Let's be real.
I was so shocked with my reaction to it because, I'm so excited about this since Adu announced, and then he jumped from 100 whatever rank to number 30 or 27 in the country. Today, when I saw he bounced, I had the same reaction bubbles. It was
I was just kind of like, whatever.
It was fuck that. That's whatever. He's here for 2, 3, 4 years. Give me the program. Give me Shaka. I'll take it every day of the week.
It seems like DJ Carton's staying based on the two most important guys are DJ Carton and Dawson Garcia right now. Hopefully he's selling the two of them on staying. After that,
Justin Lewis is. I would add Justin
and Justin. That's fair. Yep, that's my bad.
That's a great core 3 to start with.
Yep.
But
like I said, I don't care who he gets as long as they play as hard as we think Shaka Smart teams will play, right? I don't care if it's pressing all game with that, but if they're guarding the shit out of the ball, pushing the pace, and in people's shit for 40 minutes, and they give themselves a chance to win, I'm down. I'll deal with close losses and not having enough firepower to beat Connecticut, Villanova, and Creighton out of the gate here. Because in a couple of years, if they play that way, they'll get there.
If you give me that talent on a team that's top 40 in the nation in defense, I'm thrilled.
I think the one thing that he said in his press conference that really resonated with me and kind of follows what you were saying, Brian, is he wants guys to play with a clear mind. And I don't whenever you're looking at one of these press conferences, anything could be taken in the context of that was a jab at the former guy. And I don't think I never got that sense from anything Shaka said, that he was just saying his own stuff. But I think that was perhaps the biggest, I don't know, not necessarily juxtaposition, but something that we really wish that we got out of guys on Wojo's teams is playing with a clear mind. And the only one who ever really did that was Marcus, kind of. Who knows if he even did. He, was struggling with stuff throughout his tenure at Marquette himself. Right. So like you said, just get me a bunch of dudes that are just out there balling and competing. His thing is competing in everything you do, trying to win. So if that's the muscle memory that he's developing, that's great. It does sound like a lot of coach speak, But like, that's what I want. I just want to see guys playing basketball because that's when good plays are made. That's like when you see Villanova play and the passing is so crisp. Like they're not even thinking about it. They're just used to that.
And Eric, jump in right after this. Using Villanova as an example, you lose your most important player, and they don't miss a beat and still find a way to get into the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Because there's an infrastructure there that is a foundation of everything they do. No one guy, it hurts losing Gillespie, thank you. But still they're able to continue to press on. That's infrastructure.
Yeah. It's a basketball system that it doesn't – when those guys are out there in practice, it's the same thing. You know, how many times were those 4 guys playing without Gillespie on the floor in practice, and it was the same offense, the same passing, you know, and it doesn't matter that he's not out there, and it doesn't matter that he's their best distributor. The passing didn't miss a beat for Villanova either, really, you know? So it's like it doesn't even matter that it's their point guard, which you think would normally
Arkansas cut it to 8 in case anybody was wondering.
I don't really care about Arkansas. I have Baylor in this game, but my bracket is totally screwed anyway.
Let's hit some of these bullet points here on the side as we keep rolling here. We've kind of touched on first-year expectations, or at least what the expectations of the program should be. Samir, Kobe, Jamal, all transferring. Jamal, you know,
gonna miss you, buddy.
First career here, nothing. Samir, see ya. You know, Kobe, see ya. Thanks for your,
high dribbles.
But I mean that doesn't bug me for a second, Peter. I assume it doesn't for you either.
No, I'm not. I'm not really bothered by that. I mean, would it be fun to see Greg and Jamal play one more year together with a good coach who could maybe harness their hustle and, actual basketball utility that was typically on display from those two guys? Well, I guess I don't know the rule. Can you enter the transfer portal and then head back? Or is that a done deal?
That's my understanding is you're right. Theoretically, they could return if Shaka wants to recruit those guys to stay. It's there.
The nice thing about Jamal is his game fits on literally any team on any basketball team. You know, he could be a 10th guy on even a good team. But we know if he's transferring, that's probably not the situation he's going to. I think if anything, he maybe goes back to Detroit, UDM or Oakland or something like that.
Yeah,
place close to home.
Yeah.
I would like to see that for Jamal.
Yeah, no doubt. Eric, any thoughts on those 3?
Am I back in the?
You're back in, Eric.
Am I back?
Eric, we were just talking about Samir, Kobe, and Jamal transferring.
Oh, good. Okay, sorry, I dropped off there for a minute.
No problem. Any thought on those 3, and then we were going to move on, but Samir, Kobe, and Jamal moves on.
I have no appropriate thoughts on those guys. It did look like Samir. It did look like Samir perhaps had second thoughts after seeing the Shaka hiring announcement, which was really interesting to me. Otherwise, no. I mean, good luck to everybody. I mean, thank God that they gave us the contributions they did.
I think we needed a full restart. I hate saying it, but
yeah, I'm not one to say good riddance.
So-and-so's got talent.
I'm not one to say good riddance, but good riddance. So.
A little bit of it. Yeah, a little bit of it. Transfer portal, we've already kind of addressed.
Let me ask you this, Brian. What do you think are the priority? Like, if there's a guy you can add right away, like this team is, especially with Adu gone, totally devoid of any front court size.
Oh, Jesus God! No. Do not, no. No Rocket Watts. No.
Rocket Watts.
No, he can have fun in the MAC. No, he's not coming here.
Watts.
Nope. Mid-American Conference. Have fun down at
Watts.
Have fun down at Bowling Green.
Why not?
No.
Okay, wait. Give us the. So DJ Carton and Rocket Watts were tweeting at each other about playing together tonight. So tell me why.
I pray to go because I think Shaka has film and eyes and wants no part of that kid's 12 inches between his ears. Holy crap. You were frustrated by some of our players this year. Watch
Fair
3
enough.
Michigan State games and go, wait a second, the best guard on the floor plays like he's still a sophomore in high school for some reason. No, I want no part of it. I mean, look, he's got talent. Anybody can jump up and down, and I guess they could, but that's just me. Maybe I'm too close. I've watched too much of him. I've watched a lot of Rocket Watts the last 2 years. I thought he was excellent as a freshman. I thought he was going to take a massive leap this year and be one of the best guards in the Big Ten. And instead he got run over like he was a carpet for every other guard in the league, to the point they had to move him off of the 1 and make him a 2 guard, where he shot, I think, about 3% from 3. So, yeah, sorry. I didn't want to do a Rocket Watts pod, but no Rocket Watts.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
This is really going to come back to haunt me when he commits here, isn't it, Eric? I shouldn't have said all this. Can we cut this out if he does commit here?
Sure.
All right. I don't want to have record of this.
So my question initially was, do you think?
Yeah, priorities for the roster.
Right. Looks like.
I know this is going to sound weird. Eric will laugh when it goes against my guards. I need guards. I need guards that can handle the ball. I need guards that can shoot it, and I need depth at that position. We don't have any. I know. I'm talking out of both sides of my fucking mouth, Pond. I know. I just don't want it to be that guy because I've seen too much of him. God damn. He's going to come here. Were they really tweeting at each other? I didn't see that.
My internet literally froze for the last 2.5 minutes.
The question was, were they really tweeting each other?
We're talking about Rocket Watts the whole time.
I talked about Rocket Watts for a good 90 seconds.
Oh, good. Okay. I missed all of it. So
no, were they tweeting each other, Eric, was the question.
Flush it all. The fine people listening to this podcast don't want to hear me say it again. That's enough Michigan State basketball talk for this podcast.
All right,
do we do any takes on the actual intro press conference? You guys both saw it, right?
Yeah, didn't watch it, so somebody else can weigh in on that. I'm not one to weigh in on that.
Bohan, you saw it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I had 3 basic takes on it. I mean, this can be really quick. This is the only thing I really had noted.
Go ahead
to hit on tonight, but
the floor is yours.
No, so Shaka seems
slap the floor, Eric.
Yeah, there's no more floor slapping going on in this program for the time being, but Shaka just seemed incredibly genuine and good. He just seemed like everything he said he meant. None of it was showmanship. None of it was Tom Crean selling H3s.
Why are we hating on Tom Crean? All he did was win. God damn it.
I'm just telling you what I saw. You know Tom Crean.
I know Tom Crean. He won basketball games. None of us were happy when he left. What's this revisionist history coming from? Continue on your point.
I shall continue. Anyway, if you can hear me and my internet's not choppy, which it seems to.
We hear you loud and clear. You keep on plugging away.
Now he freezes.
Anyway.
Go ahead, Eric. You're back.
Can you hear me? Can you actually see me?
Yeah,
yes,
no, you're all good.
See and hear you.
Say something.
This is painful live.
Those people have dealt with worse pain.
Doc Rivers seems to be pulling the strings significantly behind the scenes.
What?
I truly...
Bohan, what is he talking about? Doc Rivers is in the middle of an NBA season. You're not pulling the strings here. What?
I think Eric, he's talking about NBA coaches, but he's got some G League bandwidth going here.
He does have some G League. This is some G League bullshit right here. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
We need to be AT&T internet.
This show should be streaming on Facebook with the quality.
Gotta get on that Xfinity bundle. Let's go.
I think Eric's coming to us from a Spectrum account.
It's got to be. He definitely is a Spectrum.
All right, Brian, let me ask you here. While we're waiting for Eric, my one question.
Do I think that Doc Rivers is pulling the strings behind the scenes?
I don't need to do any Marquette Anon questions here.
See what you did there.
My question, Brian, is if you are Shaka and in the Marquette program, right? And traditionally, we maybe attract more guards naturally. A horse just walked by behind you on your screen, and I'm not sure why. It was a commercial.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Anyways, what type of big man are you looking for in a Shaka Smart team? What do you expect him to have in terms? Because I think guard play is pretty much similar from generation to generation for the most part, but like big man play has changed quite a bit from era to era. So like, what does a Shaka front court look like?
Eric already alluded to the fact. I mean, the bigs he had at Texas over the last 6 years. I mean, he recruited some high. Bam Adebayo was a exceptionally talented monster at the college level. Jared Allen, same thing, was a monster. I mean, I don't think you're going to get guys like that to come, at least not initially. I think you're going to have some results before you pull from because look, there's a lot of guys that are tall. Excuse me. There's very few that are as talented as some of those names that he brought in. I can tell you this, it's going to be I don't think it's got to be a massive stretch the floor 4 or 5. I think he's going to ask that every single one of those bigs can run their asses off end to end. I think it's going to be a leaner, quick up and down the floor. Oh my God, we got bandwidth back? Are we alive?
Hello.
Did you pay your internet bill in the break? Jesus Christ! Stop maxing out those credit cards.
Stop maxing out your AOL 50 hours.
Shit.
Streaming too much 1080p video, bros.
It's bandwidth. It's bandwidth.
Eric, I was just asking Brian what he envisions as what a Shaka Smart front court would look like. What type of players do you envision in the front court? Brian was saying some maybe perhaps smaller, more mobile guys who are running the floor. What about you?
If he wants to press here, which he might want to come into the league and show that's what he's going to go after. You're not going to, let me put it this way. You're not going to get any aircraft. Luka Garza's not going to come walking through the door, right? There's not going to be any aircraft carriers signing up to play at Marquette to play for Shaka Smart. Now, he had a couple of those aircraft carriers down in Texas. If they can fit in, sure, but I'd just be surprised to see that.
How about this? Are we the more chaotic team than St. John's with Shaka Smart? Is there a team that brings more crazy in the Big East?
That's tough because outside of DePaul, I like everybody else more than us before hiring Shaka. So. Literally, you could talk me into every other roster.
Like Shaka said during the intro presser, the Havoc system and everything like that. It wasn't necessarily about one specific rule or about a set of actual plays. It was just about like bringing that defensive intensity and not necessarily always full court press, but it was just about like the right mentality at the right time and having that mentality, then living that through games when you knew when to do that. Like, and that's, I don't know. Bubbles, I'm with you. That seems like the appropriate assessment, but at the same time, if we can go full court press more and be a little bit more havoc and long and get into passing lanes and get guys before the half court, like, fuck it, let's do it.
It'll be exciting to see a turnover from time to time. Turnovers, man, those are fun, right? When you make them.
Right. Forcing turnovers would be cool once in a while.
Guards. It's going to start and end with guards. He's got to go. He needs to pull somebody in that's going to push DJ Carton.
Yeah, he sounds like
I love DJ, but he cannot be the primary. He's not built to play 35 minutes a game. I think he can get it. He can get exposed. They need another ball handler on this team that can be effective in facilitating an offense and, God forbid, throwing a few jump shots in. That's where it starts and ends. They need help. They need help everywhere, Pete. I mean, there's no there's nothing about this roster that says like, yeah, okay, they're good there. Like,
so with that said, such an uphill climb here with the the pieces that we have missing right now. I don't think that this is. We do have 3 really solid players. I wouldn't say this is a bare cabinet situation, maybe a la Buzz's departure. But if you're really to be fair now at setting expectations for this upcoming season, or like what would that look like? What would you be disappointed in a first season from Shaka? What would that look like?
Under 500.
Yep,
like
under 500.
That is legitimately it. Like if he loses more than he wins with the talent he has, whether it's on the roster or not, that's it for me. Like that's the meridian line or whatever.
I thought we had high standards for our program.
We're talking about the first year, man.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, Pete, this is a bad roster. I mean, Pete, say what you want. The guys say this is a roster that got carved up defensively. These guys do not guard at his level that he's traditionally used to coaching at. Expect a lot of bodies to come in, and there might be some attrition in the process. I think this is a massive departure in what the guys who are going to choose to stay are used to. And I think there are potentially bumps for that. And I'll echo what Eric said. I'm not okay with it. You're right. I mean, if they go 10-20 or something that would be bad. I mean, it would be because it's a waste, right? And then it puts a lot of heat on year 2. Puts a lot of heat on year 2.
I think
they got to find a way to win some games. I'd love them to find a way to be 9-11 in the Big East if they could fight to hover right at 500. I'll add one expectation for you: beat somebody you shouldn't beat. I don't care who it is. Beat somebody you shouldn't beat next year. And I know, and what's crazy is Wojo did that twice this year with Wisconsin and Creighton, which so that obviously doesn't mean you're going to have a successful season. But I would ask that: do they show the ability to jump up and bite somebody? Would be big. Hopefully they can do that to the tune of 8 or 9 Big East wins. But it's going to be hard, man. I'm not running around going, oh my God, we're the best league ever. Like we're not. Like the league's not at that. But the top of the league is a bitch, and I don't think you're not going to get in the top 3 with any ease in the coming years here. It is going to be very difficult. And I agree with you. I think St. John's will punch. Georgetown, God forbid they ever get it rolling. I mean, I think it's great that Ewing's going to be back next year. So
I mean, Butler's bound to rebound soon too.
Exactly. Butler never stays bad for an extended period of time. So I mean, it's it's typically going to be a 5 or 6 bid league each year into the NCAA tournament. So you got to get in the top 5 if you want to be safe. We're a long way from that right now.
And listen, like we understand he's a first-year coach. They're rebooting the program yet again. This is a reboot. You don't expect a reboot and then to be in the championship game the following year. It just doesn't happen at anywhere. Like you
but
look
you
across.
Did say that, Eric. They could literally have 9 new guys in uniform next year.
That's exactly right.
And so you said because of transfers, you do. It's almost like free agency this offseason. They have the ability to potentially do that. Potentially, I think it's a small chance, but you could. You got to find the right ingredients. You could pull it off.
Yeah, but at the same time, 1,000%, you absolutely do not know what is coming in and what's going out. Shaka should be in the top 5 of the Big East next year. At the same time, if it doesn't happen this year,
well, if he's in the top 5, he's in the NCAA tournament, Eric. So that's the only reson why I don't say that.
Yeah, let's just not kill him if he doesn't.
No, for sure, no doubt. I just hate to have the year we just had. I guess, yeah. If we had the exact year that we had this year,
but
next season,
the entire roster turned over, what would you think?
That's entirely possible. Yeah, I mean,
and then we have the exact season we had this year. That's a success, right?
I hate saying that, guy.
No.
Yeah.
No, he has to do something more, in my eyes.
It's going to be hard to do, Pete. It is.
I think he will, but I think we need to set our expectations appropriately.
Yeah.
I think the expectation for me is that there's still some significant recruiting coups and transfer news to happen that immediately people are going to be like, oh, like it's somewhere in between.
I think he is that kind of coach.
It's somewhere in between a trash roster and like a restocked roster.
There's playing time to be had at Marquette, and that's going to it's basically an expansion.
With Kobe gone, give me whoever the fuck the best scorer is in the country.
Right.
Give me that.
Carton. You basically have a foundation of Carton, Lewis, and Garcia, and then it's wide open.
If you're a transfer, is it? I mean, does it get better than that? But with a carved out niche of playing time.
Those dudes are all going to have to earn their playing time. Don't think they're just going to fucking walk in because they better get ready.
I'm saying someone that can nestle in with them. Like,
right. But those dudes got to be able to play defense to his expectation to stay on the court. And don't think one of them won't get sat down at some stretch next year because they're not.
Well, they might.
It'll happen.
Yeah, but you have like a clean slate with respect to that as well. It's not like that's another thing too about a longer tenured coach is there's those built up politics of like when you started guys when and everything like those are all set at zero. Like, hey man, you got to prove it to me. Like there's no worries about that. I think in the first year with a coach, at least maybe not till later on in the season, because he has that authority to say, hey, I'm just shaking things up. I'm, mixing up the roster. I want to see what these other guys can do. Blah blah blah. Like you can get away with that more. I don't know. Brian is tired.
Sorry.
We've been over a long time.
We have been. Anything good in the comments that we need to address?
I can't really see the comments on my
Rocket screen. Watts maybe will be one of them.
I've seen
is it really? Is it fucking really?
Wait, can we talk for 2 seconds about this job opening versus the Indiana job opening?
Oh!
And what's not on? Can we fucking do that?
I'm going to get another beverage as you start that conversation.
No.
I've got a few things to consider. So we all know what happened and where it ended up with Thad Matta being hired in as the associate athletic director and Mike Woodson from the Knicks as the assistant head coach being brought in as the head coach. Mike Woodson, 63 years old, never coached in college, never recruited, 50 games under 500 for his career in the NBA. I mean, if you look at everything that Shaka said today in his press conference, what I equate this to is Doc Rivers and Shaka Smart form this like they form the calculus of the foundation of Marquette basketball. And would you rather have Doc and Shaka or Thad Matta and Mike Woodson? It is absolutely insane to me. There's a number of other things we can talk about. Andy Katz talked about it. So Bubbles for everyone. He loves the Hoosiers, but so Mike Woodson.
Go on.
I don't know. So.
What is the question?
What is this building to? Please. You're talking about a cabal and Doc Rivers, who's coaching an NBA team, is suddenly pulling strings. Where are we building to? What do you got?
Where's the Pizzagate?
Would IU have taken Shaka Smart instead of Mike Woodson immediately if that were the option available to them? Or did we... Were we the most attractive job available?
No, I think Shaka Smart, not that I'm saying Texas historically is at Indiana's level, but from a standpoint of, I guess, stature, resources, giant state university with a whole lot of money and success, he just coached at it. So maybe he wasn't possibly interested. But I will also say this. They said right from the get-go, Eric, all the insiders were reporting that Indiana was intent on interviewing people with ties to the program. And Shaka Smart would not have checked that box. So just take that for whatever it's worth. I don't, and I'll be honest, I don't know. Again, say what you want, and I'm not trying to be negative about this. The man lost more than he won in the Big 12. And maybe Indiana went, thanks, but no thanks. So that would not be a ridiculous thought.
I think also Shaka
did Woodson win more than he lost?
Yeah, he did. But I would think
he did not
wouldn't want another big public school job. Like, I don't know. It seemed like, he just came from somewhere with a
right. I mean, the Indiana job would have been the same damn
directors. Hey, boy, I think you might be in a little over your head with this job. Why don't you go on up to Wisconsin or wherever?
First off, Mike Woodson doesn't give a fuck about getting fired. He's obviously okay with that. Indiana just had a booster drop 10 milli to get someone fired. That's another type of environment.
I think we can't assume that Marquette didn't have a similar situation happen.
I think that was
one of them is public.
No.
One of them is public. Behind the scenes fucking conspiracy theories.
No.
What's wrong, Mohan?
No, there was nothing like that.
You can't FOIA a Marquette donation. You can at Indiana.
No, the point.
Wait, Pond, you're in the crypto game. I know. Did you pull this off? Did you pay Wojo's buyout? Is this you hinting at it? Holy shit! Are you breaking news on here?
Are you making tea?
Someone get Alan Bykowski on the line now. This has all been going on behind.
Bubbles
is a smoke screen.
Bubbles is making the tea.
He's not really in the mix.
Bubbles is making the tea. Bubbles actually knows what's happening at a public university where you can FOIA the records, but apparently it's not logical to think that similar things are happening at a private university where you can't Public Information Act the records. Is that crazy?
I guess not. That's fair.
I don't know.
Go back to your fridge with the screen.
Stop it.
I think I think what Eric's suggesting is feasible, but I think it probably happened in a lot more Wisconsin way. Like a whole bunch of the board of directors, like, gee, I don't know, like this Wojo guy, maybe not anymore, huh?
I mean, he's
a nice guy
and all,
And they're all worth $50 million, and they all step up to give $500,000. Like what?
But here's the difference, though. Here's the difference in program is.
I'll be honest. I didn't think our donors are that level. I didn't think we had people like that, to be honest.
But the difference is that if they are, even if Eric's theory is true, they are more savvy than some asshole who makes this public. Basically putting on a billboard, this is the most toxic program in America. We do shit like this in public to embarrass our head coaches. Hey, bet you want to come here and be the head coach. That sounds fun. At least at Marquette, if they did do that, Eric.
Don't forget.
Cue Anon Eric over here.
Again, FOIA is Freedom of Information Act.
Is that what it stands for?
If you're a public university, you can actually everyone fucking knows this. God damn it, Bubbles.
I'm being a dick. Yes, I know what FOIA stands for. Holy shit. Jesus.
Don't be a dick. You're being a dick.
But why? I mean, the
thing is, you can't figure out what we're like. You have no barometer for what we're paying or offering these people. You have no idea what our buyouts are. You have no idea. Like, you can't then say like we're some rinky-dink side operation that's not
10 million.
the same exact thing.
We've always stepped up to the plate and paid what we need to pay. I just didn't think our boosters had that kind of balls. I didn't think we had somebody that would walk in the room and go, "I will pay to get this guy fucking out of here." I just didn't think we had. I'm not even trying to say that as a negative thing. Maybe it's a good thing that.
Well, in the end, it's a positive thing if that's
true.
You
guys are writing this complicated story when we actually already covered this. I think, maybe not on this pod, but the previous one. But like, there certainly was someone in there who could simply make an obvious business case why what the repayment time is on paying off Wojo simply with a functional basketball program winning games. And
yeah, that's fair.
And it's gonna be worth more than 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the calculus. Like, yeah, we can throw conspiracy shit at the wall, but the point is that we thought that like maybe because of the budget constraints that they wouldn't be willing to, to deal with that type of buyout. But that wasn't accounting for the fact that Marquette's apparently board of directors has the foresight to have a multi-year plan, which takes those things into account. And the thing that was in account was we're more likely to get more profits if we cut bait on the guy that's not profitable now.
Could I throw something at you here, somewhat in conclusion?
Yeah, I got Chris Carter-like hands. Let it rip.
Before we hit the junk drawer. Earlier this season, after the DePaul game, due to we just couldn't seem to assemble a group. I had some feelings in my heart, and I recorded a solo pod about that loss to DePaul and kind of what it meant as a program. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I checked out after that home loss to DePaul. Most days I would put every game in my calendar. Was like pleasantly surprised when like games popped up at nights. Didn't realize it. Was not actively didn't watch 4 or 5 of them. Didn't care whether we won or lost. And the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament being back this year snapped me out of my apathetic feels, and I got freaking mad again because I went, I love this weekend. This is so fun. I feel like I'm watching all the kids at the party across the street have a great time, and I'm just standing over here on the side looking at it because my guys aren't part of it. And it like shocked me back. I was like, God damn, we need to get rid of Wojo again. That was all. And then this happens, which I didn't think was possible, but I feel like we got a shot at it again. It's weird, but I've just kind of been thinking about that as we were getting ready to record this tonight. Like, it's been a really lousy last couple months, not just because we didn't win, but because it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
It's going to be a long-ass summer waiting for that B-ball to start back up in October.
Yeah, no doubt. There'll be some hype for it.
There will be. I wish this was one of those years where they played those stupid Europe games where, we watched them win by 50 against
4 years, I think.
The fact that there are like, can we talk about this first? This is my junk drawer topic. How are there like 4 levels of minor league basketball in a country like Italy when we can barely cobble together 1 level of minor league basketball in America? Seriously, like where are other basketball leagues?
We have 3 levels of college basketball. We got 3 levels of college basketball. Don't forget, those are also minor leagues.
Well, I also think all of the European like sub leagues let you pay players, and in America you cannot. So
right. I'm just saying we got Division 1, 2, and 3 men's and women's basketball, and the G League. So technically, you could argue there's 4 levels for amateur club, and the G League is professional. You're being paid to do that.
So. I'm gonna make a bold prediction here that no one saw coming as this pod started, but is a natural response to this conversation. I think that the most likely league to crop up or expand in the U.S. is some kind of scaling up of the TBT. I don't know what shape that takes, but the leadership who put that thing together are some up-and-comers, some smart dudes, and like everything that they've done has been super successful. And like,
you mean Chris Paul?
Paul. I'm gonna go.
No, not the big 3, Brian. The TBT.
No, Chris Paul's the TBT.
I'm gonna make
Ice Cube's the big 3.
Wilder assertion here in saying that the reason that Shaka Smart chose Marquette over Texas was due to the name and likeness issues in the in college basketball and upcoming in the NCAA and that litigation that's going to really hit hard than anything.
Excuse me?
That's my takeaway.
But what is the implication of Marquette versus Texas in that scenario? The private public thing?
Yeah, I think probably you can offer
it's a lot easier for Marquette to license something since they're a private school.
I think that's probably true. I think also you can probably get away with a lot more in terms of a private regional university in terms of offering like rights to me selling your car dealership.
Okay,
I think you probably
one step later.
This is a real deep cut.
This is a next level conversation, but you just made me so woke on this, Eric.
Dude, I think this is actually going
to
be.
To this.
So the Ed O'Bannon shit.
This will be for the post pod. This is for the post pod.
Yeah, this is post pod. I need
post pod.
But the Ed O'Bannon stuff is not done. It's going to come back around, and it's going to absolutely ever given Suez Canal shit. The NCAA.
Oh, solid modern day reference.
And it's happening. It's going to happen quickly. I think any coach like Shaka is thinking about that and thinking about where he can be and succeed in the next iteration of NCAA basketball, because it's not going to look like what it looks like now. I'll tell you that.
Okay, and what you're saying is by proxy that Marquette made a savvy hire to get someone who can navigate that potential future. But what you're talking about is...
I think that's right. I think that's exactly right.
We're not talking about just one level of magnitude. This is like an earth-changing, landscape-changing event within college sports that will completely reshuffle the board in terms of competitiveness. And that may mean that there may be new winners and losers, which may mean theoretically that a public school with 70,000 students isn't better positioned to succeed than a small urban university in the Great Lakes. And who knows what kind of level playing field will emerge. Obviously the NCAA will try to keep things as level as possible, so there's not a ton of winners and losers, but I would bet on the agility of the private university and a school who's making a hire to anticipate that. And if what you're saying is true, then like Indiana is so screwed with Mike Woodson, not just for now, but for the delay in being able to assemble the infrastructure you alluded to, Brian, to be able to harness all of that. So IU trash program, take a hike.
You're terrible. Could I
also, for the record, I haven't alluded to anything. This has been a very... Go ahead. What's your junk drawer?
I got a junk drawer. I normally never bring something, but this has been rolling around in my head. The last spots in to the NCAA tournament every year can matter. Mm-hmm. In my head, I tell myself, why are we screaming about 19 and 12 teams that are bad? And you know what? You're not wrong in saying that. UCLA and Michigan State were bad this year. I, like an idiot, thank you, gambling, watched Oregon State play multiple basketball games. They weren't good for long stretches. It fucking matters finding a way to weasel your way into this thing, because dumb things happen, and it doesn't make sense sometimes. As much as you want to complain all you want, like us going into the Big East tournament this year, and it would have saved Wojo's job. What fucking Georgetown did, right? They didn't beat anybody great. Creighton was really the big one. They stomp them, they get in the tournament. Now, they went and got their heads kicked in the opening game, but Georgetown very easily could have been Oregon State, right? Or what UCLA has done. Like, just finding a way to get in this damn thing, it just amazes me each and every year. In your head, you go, whatever. You're 19 and 12. You finished in 7th place in the Pac-12. Don't care. it freaking matters. And UCLA is a game away from the Final Four now. It amazes you. Just find a way to get in, baby.
You know what, Brian? I feel like you might be onto a potential just seeing the future. I don't know the correct term for what you just did, but
clairvoyant.
You were a bit clairvoyant there. I feel like if Shaka were to make the tournament somehow in this first year, it would be squeaking into that first 4 game. And what a better birth story for a program.
Oh, I'll talk myself into the Final Four immediately if we did that.
Shaka first 4 in Dayton, 11 seed.
Just like he did with VCU a decade ago.
Starts right there.
Eric, print the goddamn shirts. Let's go. Come on. That's it. That's all I got. I don't bring anything else to the junk drawer very often. That's what I got.
That's what we're doing, right? I mean, that's it.
Look, I'm positive for the first time in forever. I'm not, and as you've heard from my thing, I think there are some reasons for not concern, but there's a reason. Like, again, the man, he wasn't perfect. He has a very good legacy, but he's also demonstrated he can struggle too. So he's human. We just got to try to hope the infrastructure at Marquette sets him up to win. But look, this league is going to be hard on him. He's going to have to prove he's a good basketball coach.
So I think the only thing, like, for the junk drawer, and this is something that, like, we try to have that's unique and interesting and different, but, like, we haven't heard anything about the 50th anniversary of the 6 years. Shaka goes about 6 years at a clip on a team before moving on. Hopefully this is his forever team. That's kind of obviously what we're all coalescing around, the idea of this being at least his grand stop to create that.
If he makes the tournament every year, he can leave after 6. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. But anyway, this would be his team to have at the 50th anniversary of the title team. That's something extremely special. This administration is not going to want a middling team with low expectations and low excitement. So one of my big takeaways is in junk drawer is start getting ready your designs and your puns and anything else marketing wise you can get together for the 50th anniversary of the 77 national championship team, because it's never too early to start planning.
Holy shit, are we coming up to the 50th?
We're coming up to the 50th. We will be there in...
Weren't we in school for the 30th? Holy fuck, we're old.
We're 6 years away, Bubbles.
Listen to this.
It's 6 years away. My God.
What's going to happen first? What's going to happen first?
Come on. We got to get our bumper stickers.
We were in school for the 30th. I don't want to remind myself how goddamn old I am.
I still have the 30th shirt, I think.
In 6 years, some of us might be touching 4-0. My God.
You might be touching 6 feet under, bruh.
What's Kirby Puckett's famous line?
Exactly.
What's Kirby Puckett's famous line? I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time.
I don't know if that was Kirby Puckett, but that is a famous line. Yeah.
So what's going to happen first? That or our good buddy neighbor Pete Worth cashing in on his ownership of Vatican3.com?
Oh, he'll cash in on that. That'll get a little open the vault. That's one of the smartest things he's ever done. That'll pay out, yeah. That'll pay out. That was a brilliant move. I gotta say, I wish I had something like that in my back pocket. I'm out here day trading, fucking just.
Me too. Crypto. I'm on the graph.
Get Vatican 4 now, Brian. Strike quick.
Nah, I don't think we're gonna be around for Vatican 4. Might have a shot at Vatican 3.
Not if Lil Nas X has anything to say about it. That's for sure.
All right, can we bring this Suez Canal?
Land the plane.
This has been brutal, guys. Brutal.
For Pete Mohan and Eric Pond.
We still have 13 live viewers right now. What are they doing?
God bless those poor people. Holy crap.
I love you.
Thank you.
Was that your final? Was that your sign off?
No, I'll wrap it. So
thank you.
For Mike Lavender and Pete Worth, who aren't here, for Pete Mohan and Eric Pond, this was a blast. We wanted to get on here and give you some Shaka takes. I think this might even lead to some off-season pods and some energy going into next. In the past, we've kind of picked this thing back up on opening night, and we may actually there's going to be some energy this off-season. And obviously there's going to be news on the roster over the coming weeks. So I would imagine probably before the month of April is done, we'll be back out here again talking about the roster construction and how they're going into the offseason, because there will be news. And if there is news, you can bet the Real Chili Podcast will react about 72 hours.
There will be blood.
I'm going to pull up in an Olds and then be spitting that news.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everybody. This is the Real Chili Podcast. Go Marquette and go to bed. It's 11:30 on a Monday, for the love of God.
Later, you geeks.
Go.